GIF Warriors, and what a way to wrap a week. Getting close to wrapping the month and the quarter. And today, we really have a special guest, and I'm not using that in any light way. My trading warrior brother, Steve Marcantonio, is here, and people know him as the Pivot King, and there are reasons for that because of his work. He's the owner, editor of besttraders.com. Check him out. After you hear Steve talk, you're going to want to learn what he knows, and he actually does teach a few select people. So, Steve, it's been so long
Yeah.
that I started to hear thunder outside before the interview. So even the heavens are listening today, Steve. So
Yes.
uh, uh,
Yes.
great to have you. It's been too long. Appreciate you granting the interview because I know you're not on the circuit like me and a lot of people I talk to. And the fact that you reached out and
Hmm.
said you're ready to talk because this is an important time in market history.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Yeah.
you reaching out to
Yeah.
me. What is it that you're seeing as far as this inflection point? Does it have to do with the war,
Uh,
the with the escalation, and now it's Lebanon now.
I'll tell you what I'm seeing. Okay. Look, I don't know how long. By the way, pleasure to be with you again, Dell. And I've always, I love speaking with you and love picking your brain and always enjoy time spending with you, speaking to you about markets and life itself. And you being a man of faith, I love that very much as well. And I think a lot of people in the world need to really wake up onto what's going on in the world these days. That's what I like to start off with. So if you don't
Okay.
have,
Okay.
if you're not, if you don't, pray to a higher power, whether it's something in your own religion, I highly suggest you do, especially in these times that are happening right now around the world. I just want to mention that. So there's a
Okay.
lot of negative energy out there in the world, and you need to switch your negative energy into positive energy. I just wanted to
Yeah.
say that to start off this meeting because
Yeah.
there's too many things going on around the world, and not just war, just people's this next generation really needs to pay attention to what's going on because it's not good out there.
Have
I
you
don't know
ever
if
read the
anybody can
book?
see it.
Yeah. Have you ever read the book The Fourth Turning by Neil Howe? And he talks about this time that we're in history where I think it is every 60 years. We had the Industrial Revolution, then the technology revolution, and we're ending this last section from technology, and maybe AI is the next thing, but the transition between it is people lose confidence in all the institutions, things become decentralized, and basically these are going to be tough times to get through a reset.
I think
Uh,
it's happening for sure. The writing's on the wall for anybody to see. Like I've always been inspired with geopolitics. It's one of my fortes. I just enjoy tracking stuff. I remember back then, September 11th. I don't want to get too much into it, but a lot of the times, it's like I tend to like to see what's happening around me, right? And unfortunately, well, fortunate, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but there is some issues where, look, I'll tell you why I like where the market geopolitical issues come in with how it responds to the market. Uh, you see a lot of times where what's his name, Michael Berry,
yeah,
they see something that other people don't. So what I'm trying to say is what you're seeing right now, it's kind of like COVID when it came out. There's certain people that saw something, and what they did was they saw something where other people would constantly say, "No, they're just, it's not going to come down. It's going to continue to go back up." Uh, because people are conditioned, and why I really, really think people should understand is these last 10 years, especially, people are conditioned to always buy. So any new trader
yes,
out there right now, they're kind of, I personally think it's Wall Street doing it. Maybe they have some sort of AI out there saying, well, how do we condition people so that they could keep on buying so we could offload more shares? And I think that's exactly what's been happening. Buffett's been selling like a madman. They've been
yeah,
going on for like, I don't know how many
a
shares
couple of
these guys
years.
have across the board. It's like, it never ends.
He has more T-bills than the U.S. Treasury.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
It's just so much amount of money out there, and everybody's trying to. I think they have so many shares across the board. These funds that it's kind of being managed. I think
Do you think
for
we're
them
in
to
a
get out.
melt up stage? I've I saw the reaction and the correction coming in July, and that was a pretty nice hit the market took. And then in September, the
That came
S&Ps
out of
almost
nowhere.
made, yeah, they
That came
almost
out of
made new,
nowhere. That hit
yeah,
came out of nowhere.
yeah. So I mean that was the people
That
are
was
saying the
weird.
unwind of the carry trade,
I don't
U.S.
know.
dollar yen.
I
So
don't know. I don't know
so
about that.
anyway, what I'm thinking here, and we may as well move to markets, is that the S&Ps are not going to die with a whimper. Not this type of long-term bull market, whether it's the end of wave three or five of five, whatever it is, that it will be spectacular.
My,
And
I,
go ahead, Steve.
I think, yeah. I think the wave's kind of already there. Could it go higher? Of course, but I think
Yeah.
it's fairly stretched now. But what I was getting to is there's certain things that you could see, and some work, some don't. But when there's triggers, you can make a very large amount of money trading if you get the trigger right. Meaning COVID, there's people that made an absolute killing on COVID. They just did some lottos and puts and it paid thousands of percent.
Yes.
A lot of people don't think that the market will ever break her again, the market will ever come down hard. They're conditioned. And all I'm saying is going into these elections and, two assassination attempts, war in Ukraine, Taiwan, China, like, you know,
Close.
ready to go. Um, you just have a mess all over. And it's just the writing's there. Lebanon right now, I personally think there is going to be a trigger. When it triggers, there, if it does, which I think it will, you could jump on that train and make quite a bit of money if something breaks, especially if everybody's lopsided. And if right now, just read a report like 2 days ago, I think it's like majority of the people are long right now.
Oh,
And
U.S.
no one's,
households, U.S. households have never been more net long. That's a
that's what I'm
Charlie
saying
Bellow.
is,
Yeah, they've
that's what
never
I'm
been
saying is
longer.
that there's triggers out there. What I'm saying is with the trigger, something bad. I'm not just saying this. Like the Department of Justice, Christopher Wray, I don't know if you've
Yeah,
heard them in testifying in front of the House committee. They've
they're
literally
prepping
said
us.
everywhere they turn, they see red lights.
Yeah.
Like if people, all I'm saying is if I'm an intraday trader, mainly Dale, but if you're swing trading, you definitely want to be hedged because something could happen from now until the election. It's
Overnight, and then
overnight,
you're
and
trapped.
it could
Yeah.
hurt you, and you might not even get out. Who knows with these brokers, all these games they play, you won't be able to log in, and it's just getting crushed. I've heard stories
How about the
of
VIX, Steve? Do you think that move to 60 was a foreshadowing, even though it was short-lived?
we got
How
that VIX.
wrong-sided people selling volatility were, and you know what? It was dysfunctional. The options market shut down. In the
I
money
heard. You
options did
see,
not get paid.
you see,
So I have another war story. I was
unbelievable.
long VIX 20 calls.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
and you know
we were
what?
in UVIX. We got paid.
You got, yeah, I
we
should
got
have
the
just, yeah, I should have owned that. Don't buy VIX options because they backed off and they didn't make a market. Those 20 calls
unbelievable.
only
Wow, I
paid
didn't know
two
this.
bucks, $2.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah,
because
because they
they
weren't
gamed
making a
it.
market. That was
Gamed it.
that was it. Anyway,
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
that a
that's
foreshadowing
bad.
of the market structure not being so great? If you could run an instrument like that over a 10%
Oh, you
correction in
could
the
you
S&Ps?
I think the VIX is the most heavily you could easily manipulate. I don't even know why it's a security. The VIX
Yeah.
is the easiest to move. Two out
Well,
of the
maybe
calls
the Fed was
SPX
in at
on
60.
100%. That's what yeah, I think it
Huh?
was that. Yellen made the call. Yeah, for sure. And
Okay.
I've heard stories. I don't know if they're true, but there is some word out there that the VIX is being gamed
Yeah.
to push the algos into taking the market higher. and taking the market lower whenever they want. And Dale, look, anybody listening, I don't know, maybe some people might not like this, but look, I've noticed looking at these screens for the amount of experience that I have, I can see how these markets could be pushed around, and especially with AI. Now, I think they had that technology way back, like way back. And maybe BlackRock has been using that technology. Well, they have a Aladdin, it's called. This thing manages, I don't know, like 10 trillion. And it's just this thing just manages everything. Who knows how many calculations are in that? But they can bring this market anywhere they want, Dale.
Yeah, they're going to take Bitcoin to over 100,000 because
They
it's
can
on the
do
verge of breaking out over
they could
69.
they
Yeah,
could do whatever they want. Look, BlackRock,
yeah.
State Street, Vanguard, they own like 85% of the shares in the S&P.
Okay. All
So
right.
if they want to crash, all they have to do is sell a couple of those positions and a crash comes if they want to bring the market up. But it all works around levels. That's the thing, though. That's why
Yeah,
charting to me is number one. You'll have
yeah.
these macro people, which I don't have no disrespect to macro people. That's their forte. But the way I look at this, Dale, is everything's in the charts. I don't need to look at macro. I don't need to know. I don't even look at the non-farm payrolls. Whether it was, I'm not kidding, Dale. I don't
I
even
believe
know
you.
the number. People are like, this is the number, and then they have it. Then Bloomberg, well, then someone will, the news media will come in there and take that number, and then they'll make a script around it, right?
Yeah,
I came to realize after so many years that it's just a story, but that
yeah.
story is always in the charts
Price is
because
king.
all the money buying and selling is in the security you trade. Now, if you're a good chartist, you don't. Do you really? Non-farm payrolls was a miss. The market goes up. That's why the market went up. No, it's because this level broke and it's going to this level, and it was set up, and you could see that there was accumulation at this level, especially when I look at dark pools a lot, and you can kind of see what the institutions are doing. And if you can put that piece, the puzzle and piece together, you'll be able to pick up on things that other people don't. Everything is in the charts, everything. So when you see, look, I'm not saying macro's bad. I like macro's good combined with the charts too, right?
Yeah,
It just gives it
yeah.
more confluence, of course.
Yes.
But if you're a good chartist and you've been doing this for a long time and you're a good chartist, you could trade just from the chart. You don't really need to know about what the number was for non-farm payrolls. You don't need to know whether they lowered rates or increased rates because it's in the charts. And how
Yeah.
is it in the charts? Is these institutions know
Well,
before they
look at the
come out.
10
They
year
know.
10-year yield dropped from 4.5 to 370.
Yes,
Okay.
that's another thing.
So I mean, who led who? Powell
Exactly.
following the market,
That's right.
not leading the market.
That's
Um,
right. That's
I
right.
want to ask you if you think there's a chance that they could hold this together until after the election.
No,
That's if there's an election.
I don't think they will. Look, Trump wants a clean slate. Trump wants a crash. He's even said it.
Sure, he
If you
does.
look at a lot of he wants a clean slate. Uh, Me looking at these charts, which I'm going to go through, the way that July move came down and now how this is coming up, it was obviously intervened, but and they've intervened quite a bit, actually. You could see it. Like I said, they can push it anywhere they want.
Yeah,
Those
well, won't
protections.
the powers that be want to, okay, let's get conspiratorial. They say it isn't true, but most of the Fed officials are Democrats, and they're not really pro-Trump. And
Look,
in
you
fact,
want to,
Powell was going to be fired by Trump.
yes.
So won't the Fed do everything it can to keep the market together and not have a crash before Election day? And
No,
won't
because I'll
our
tell you why. I'll
All
tell
right,
you
go
why.
ahead. Go ahead.
There's one thing that they can't control. One thing. It's called oil.
Sellers.
It's called oil.
Okay. So that's your
And if
trigger. And
you,
yeah.
that's the trigger. They can't control it.
Okay.
Saudi
Okay.
Arabia, Russia, OPEC, they can't
Yeah.
control it. You know this too. They can't. They'll try. If oil is affected in the Middle East, and there's a trigger, boy, there's a trigger with Iran. If you've if you've looked at geopolitics, like I said, if you've looked at statements from Iran, they said if they are attacked, one of the things that they'll do is close the Straits of
Right.
Hormuz.
No one thinks that'll happen.
They have the technology to do it.
I
And the
believe
US
so.
knows it. That's why all the US Navy ships are there. And they're all around the Straits of Hormuz because they know they can. And they've even said they can. If
Yeah.
they shut down the Straits of Hormuz, oil is going to fly and it's going to fly hard. Does the Fed know this?
Yeah.
Does the Fed raise rates, lower rates because they see something?
Yeah.
Now, I think they're trying to get ahead of something. Like the writings, it's going to be something. I personally think they'll look. I could be wrong. I don't think I am though. I think something's going to happen in the Middle East. I think
Okay.
oil's going to shoot up, and oil's set up. Oil,
It
the
is.
charts on oil are set up
I
to
mean, I'm with you. I saw
it's
your
starting.
stream. You caught nat gas, and we're talking WTI. We're talking oil now. See, one thing that's for sure, whether the economy is okay, which I don't believe, and I think that's what the Fed is worried about, is the
Yeah,
economy. But throw an oil shock
but
on
going back to
top of,
that, that's how
yeah,
they can't stop it. They won't be able to stop it. The Fed
every
if
ma
oil
y-
spikes, and
yeah.
Trump knows that too. By the way,
All right.
believe me,
Every
he
major
does.
recession started with an oil shock. Almost every recession,
It,
oil shock.
it will. If oil flies, it's going to hit the market, and they won't be able to save it.
Okay. All right.
That's what I
So now
think.
I
I think
want to
there's
get,
going to be a trigger with oil. That's my.
okay.
I could see it too in the charts. By the way, this whole
Well,
move down,
yeah.
something's up. I'm getting
Well,
bazooka blocks on these lows like crazy.
yeah.
Anyways, we'll soon find out.
Okay. I want to talk about, you talk about areas as a chartist, and you use the word cluster. I was wondering if you could pull up a chart and tell us what your cluster areas are. I think you look at block trading to give you a clue as to
Here, I'll bring it
who's
up. Yeah,
coming
sure.
in and who's offering the market.
All right, so let me see if you can see my screen. Should be. Do you
Got
see
it.
my mouse?
Yeah, beautiful.
Is this the right one?
Yep.
Okay, you see these areas here? This is a
Yeah.
cluster. So these are
Okay.
major bazooka blocks in ES futures.
All right.
Major, as you can see there in my band. And if you look at it, you'll see 989. By the way, this is via the dark pool sniper tool, which we made. It's unbelievable with and some charting software. I highly suggest people get it because it's a game changer, by the way, with
Good.
regards to getting confluence in certain areas. So you'll see that price is below these, right? So, and you'll see here, those bazooka blocks, price got above it. These are cluster areas. So this is
This
the
is
area.
gold. This is gold, you know.
This is ES.
I'm looking at gold, Dees Gold 24. And it
Oh,
shows a
wow.
strong
I
close at
shared the
20.
wrong one. I shared the
It's
wrong
all
one.
it's all right.
Uh,
In fact, I believe it reached your objectives here. You call it when you take profits, getting clipped. To me, when I think about getting
I'm sharing the
clipped,
wrong screen. Sorry, Dale.
that's okay.
Let me just bring it.
You stop sharing and then you start again. I know you have a spaceship in there.
Yeah.
Are you glad you're not up in the space station right now and
Yeah.
waiting for Boeing to bring you home?
How do I, where do I bring the, oh, there it is. Stop share. I got it.
Yeah,
I
there you
shared the
go.
wrong one.
That's okay.
There.
See, you don't do interviews for a few years. You get a little rusty
Yeah, I got rusty.
with
I
Zoom.
think it's
So
this one. Now I got it. Okay.
okay,
So uh, you'll see here in ES
yeah,
these bazooka blocks here and prices below it. So this is our major cluster areas where institutions basically look like they dump, if you ask me, and price is now below it. So where would support be is around these cluster areas as well, especially when they map with my pivots. As you can see here, the 5730 is a very
yeah,
strong pivot. In fact, it got near it. It got the 57
yeah,
32, and you'll see that it bounced. So it hit these bazooka blocks, tested it, and bounced back up. So these are
right.
cluster areas that I look at for very extreme support and resistance areas. Now, this is just with futures, but regarding gold, I'll
Is
bring
it
gold.
comparable to what people use on market profile?
That's It's kind of the same thing, but it's not because these are actual dark pools.
Okay.
So if there is, it's kind of the same thing, but it's kind of different because the market profile, it will show you the number of shares being traded at that specific level, but these are specifically has to do with dark pools,
Where
and some
people
are
are
on the
trying to
private
hide their,
exchange.
where people
Yeah,
are
and you won't be
wanting,
able to see that. Yeah,
yeah, they want to
so
hide out with
you
what they're
got it.
doing. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
Uh, I had gold up. I don't know
Yeah. Gold,
what happened here.
gold. So I read in your
Gold hit my
stream.
target. Yeah, and I had that
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
I had that for 2 months. 26.44. By the way, the market gold closed at 26.45, and I got out my full position, and even silver hit my target as well.
Okay. We're looking at S&Ps.
Here, I'll bring silver.
So let me ask you this. You're out, but with what you're
It's silver.
talking about, you've got to be bullish. When you come out of a trade like this that
It's
you've been
just
in,
the
do you
profits.
look, yeah,
Yeah.
just profit taking? Are there levels that you're looking at to
Well,
come
look at
back
this,
in?
right? Look at my band way up. It's very bullish silver. I've been bullish silver from middle of July. I even put a post saying the time for the miners is right now. I even put it on my Twitter. And that was 2 months ago. And since that time, it's been flying. GNUG, my wife
Yes, the
did a
queen.
GNUG, it just flew. She did a very fantastic trade. So right now, to me, the miners, gold, silver, they never had their day. Remember, back in the day during COVID, you had the pharmaceuticals, biotech, the
Yeah,
indices, you had even oil shoot up. You
yeah,
had every sector fly, but nothing flew. Gold didn't really follow. Do you remember? Gold and silver
yes,
wasn't fine, but
yeah. They got crushed. They
the
recovered, but
boys know it's their time, and now is
even
the
gold
time.
bulls, Steve, even physical metal bulls are so disillusioned with the shares
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they haven't performed like the physical. So you're saying it's time for a reversion trade where perhaps the miners begin to outperform
It's
the
already
physical
happening.
metals?
Yeah, yeah. I think the
Okay.
miners are going to moonshoot going into 2025, 2026, actually, probably till 2030. I think there's going to be a massive bull run in the miners in these next couple of years. Uh,
It doesn't take a
they're
lot of
good.
money to move them. I mean, market
No.
cap of all the miners might be something like IBM.
Well, there's going to be a lot of money going into them. It's already started,
Yeah.
and that's what's going to push it, right? So
Okay.
the shine's going to come back to the miners, and so kind of like what everybody's seen with tech. But you know what happens? Gold's going to have to, make a little nice run. Silver, which is starting, and it's already has gold, and more people are going to start to look at gold and say, "Wait a second, I got to put," they're going to buy it. Probably, they're probably doing it now. They're putting an allocation towards gold. A lot of these funds, they're told not to touch gold. Basically, a lot of them that I speak to actually, but now they are dabbing in it, and they're like, "No, we see something around the horizon," and they're putting parts of their portfolios into the metals, and that's good.
Okay.
Um, so I
Uh,
think gold's gonna. I think here's a target hit. I had 3180 for a while here. I got
yeah.
in at this bazooka block down here in silver, and it just flew. And my bands are up, so silver dips
So
to
you
be bought. Massively bullish on it. And
so
I
why are
love the
you out?
pullbacks.
Why are you out then
It
if
hit
you're
my
massive?
target. That's the way I that's the way I trade.
Okay.
I could always get back in. I don't marry positions. I take
Okay.
profit,
Yeah.
and that's what works for me. Uh,
Okay.
you know,
No,
I
I was just asking
I'll get
because
back in. I get back in.
yeah,
Markets breathe, Dale, and when they breathe, it's healthy. That's
yeah,
the thing. When people just want things to go in a straight line, which comes back to the question I always say: people are conditioned. They're so conditioned in this market. I've been trading for a very long time, so I understand that
yeah,
when it breathes, it makes it go higher. You want it to breathe.
yeah,
It's like when you're running a marathon
yeah,
and you take a break and then you start again. You got an extra push. That's why
yeah,
people take breaks. That's why hockey players they go out there and they skate hard and then they go back to the bench and the other team goes in because they want to rest to burst again. Same with markets. You want that rest. It's this kind of like the indices taking off now, but I'm
yeah,
sure there's a helping hand there. But you want breathers. You want the metals to breathe, and the way these the metals are. gamed as well. Um, you would see these hard moves down, and many people that have been following me know,
On Fridays
yeah,
when
yeah,
when
yeah.
Asia was
Yeah.
closed.
When what?
Asia was closed.
That's the see, those are the times, and that's why you should
Yeah,
always concentrate. See, I like to only concentrate trading, Dale. I like one or
yeah,
two securities. That's it. And a lot of people like to trade four or five things at a time. I'm like, that. How do you do that? When you trade, if you're just an oil trader or you just trade metals, you're going to be able to pick up on things that other people don't because you're clearly watching that specific security. So what happens is just like you said about the Asia type, some person might not even know that. You
yeah,
know that because you look at those markets every day. You even know times. There's times that I don't want to mention. There's times I know that, like for example, today there was one where I know an algo's going to turn on, and it comes and changes, but I'm here on my desk watching it, and
okay,
and you're like, hey, this last couple of days at 1:30, this thing, and you'll see it do the same thing, and it's not by coincidence. It's being able to pick up on something because you're at your desk. So the way I
oh,
look at this is, if people are trading, there is two types of traders. There's intraday traders, there's swing traders, there's many different ways to trade. But I
yeah,
find that the people that really succeed in trading are the people that spend time watching all price moves, learning, making mistakes. Making mistakes are good. Hopefully, they're not big. And then learning from them and finding, what did I do? Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Maybe next time I'll do this. So trading in itself is a journey. And like,
and,
I think I've made every mistake in the book. I've lost a lot of money trading back in the day. And I think that's exactly how I learned, to be honest. I'm just the type of character that never gives up. And
yeah,
you start to see, and you start to really condition yourself if you want to stay in this game. I find the people that really have the attitude of not giving up make it. So
yeah. Well,
to all
I'm
those
just starting
listening,
to
don't
get the
give up.
hang of it, Steve. I've been at it since '76.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
markets change, right?
yeah. You
You got to
know,
change with it.
you know, I you talk about guys that see things. And I say that if you listen, that markets will speak to you.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
just a
absolutely.
simple example, if I could just share one chart, if you could just stop sharing,
Okay.
to for people to, it goes all the way back to just knowing about what's leading, what's lagging, the relative strength, the relative weakness. You fade the relative weakness. But when we had that big down day, Steve, in September in the market, and everything was red, I looked at, we're on the same page on this. I looked at nat gas, and the only two things that were green on a big red day was nat gas and wheat. And they both had decent runs, but I'll just show you.
Wheat.
It's
Yeah.
really, yeah, it's really, it was this day, okay? This was September 3rd when the S&Ps were getting hammered, closed bad on a Friday, and then they just turned it. The only two things that were positive was nat gas, so I got positive. I go, wow,
Yeah, I
if
like
it can
that.
hold up on a day
Yeah.
like this, and it's not getting hammered like everything else,
Yeah.
and then wheat was the same thing. So if traders can just pay attention on a big red day to what's green, and on a big green day what's red, they're going to get market tells,
Yes. Yeah. Well, you're looking
right?
at
I
the
mean,
security, right?
it's not rocket science,
Yeah.
but it's paying attention.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
see, like the old
Seeing
tape
it.
readers, they didn't have charts.
Yeah.
They just watched price come across, and they had a feel just from watching the tape.
You're automatically, by watching it, you're automatically triggering your subconscious, right? So you're actually
Yeah,
learning, and you're not even knowing that you're actually learning it. So when
yeah,
you're actually looking at something, it's like watching, and there's studies on this, by the way. If you watch a movie or you watch a show, uh, let's say you like scary movies all the time, you're actually triggering yourself and putting in darkness into you by watching those all the time because it's actually triggering your subconscious. So, uh,
and people love those. You
and that's
know,
why there's so much evil around the world. That's why,
yeah,
I watch the Grammys and I see a ritual on stage. It's kind of weird
yeah,
these days. You don't see anybody speaking about love and family and happiness. It's all just garbage
Funny.
out there, and that's what I don't like. But hopefully that changes in 2025. But
Well,
anyway, I think it will, by the way, depending on. Anyways, I don't want to get too political, but look,
all right. Well, go ahead, make a call. Who's going to win?
well, it seems
Depends on
okay.
the S&Ps, doesn't it? The S&Ps are going to decide who wins this November.
Look, I'll bring something up that bothered me the last 24 hours. I see Oprah Winfrey, and
Okay.
they're bringing up Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
This is what I don't like, and I think you're going to agree with me. I see the people that she's talking to bring up the 2024 elections and to, we're going to turn the page, we're going to make things better. Who is she talking with to bring on there? Watch who they bring. Julia Roberts, Jennifer Lopez, Chris Rock, and then two others, all celebrities. So let me ask you this, Dale. Are these celebrities feeling inflation?
No.
Do these celebrities, you think, have a hard time with money right now? Where majority of Americans,
No.
majority even Canadians are? No.
Not till you're, yeah.
So how are you interviewing people that know nothing what's going on around the world about a 2024 election, and you bring these celebrities in talking about how this person is the best candidate for you? These celebrities have no clue what's going on, of people not even having food on their table right now.
Yeah.
How are they supposed to know what's going on?
Yeah. Okay.
So when I see that, it bothers me.
Okay.
Why don't you bring regular people on? People that have a job, people, business, even white collar, people that have an IT engineer, or it doesn't matter. It's a lot of people are being hurt with this inflation. And I think it's going to get worse. And they bring on these celebrities.
Yeah. So
what
how
is
about
a celebrity going to tell the normal person on what's going on around the world? Like, you really think that they know what the hell's going on? They're in a different network.
Yeah.
They're the 0.001% of the population.
Yeah.
And they bring the 0.001% of the population to dictate how Americans and Canadians and all the rest of the world feels. It doesn't make sense to me. And if people don't understand that, then I don't think anybody can help you, because it's obvious that there's problems around the world. And I think the
so what
market.
happens when the rich finally take a hit, Steve? And, they've already taken away almost everything from a majority of people, that saying you'll own nothing and you'll like it from the World Economic
Well, how
Forum.
have they taken a hit? I think they're dumping their shares like a madman these last 6 months. They've actually made a lot of money. They're always the ones who are like, yeah. I think some of them are going to take them, and I think some of them are going to get arrested too. But that's my honest opinion later down the road. But
why don't you just tell people what it's like in the real estate market? I know it's different conditions up there in Canada. You guys didn't have 30-year mortgages where you could have locked it in, and that's part of the reason that people are getting squeezed, because their mortgage payments went up.
Real estate's a different breed. It's more. I'm talking about multi units. I'm not talking about a house. I'm talking about apartment buildings, or if you have even a house, you have a house and you have a high mortgage. Like, do you really need? Okay, look, you have a house. Let's say it's a 2-story. You do the kitchen upstairs, and you make 2 units where you could rent out. That helps with your mortgage. Do you really need a big house? Like, how often do you spend out of a big house? You're only going to spend time in 2 rooms where you sleep and where you do something else. All those other rooms, you don't go. I know I don't. You spend time in 2 rooms. So these people that
don't forget the bathroom, man.
Oh my God, that's number 3. I know. I go to the bathroom a lot.
Anyway,
that's number 1 on my list.
Just hoping you didn't have an outhouse, but anyway.
You
go
can
ahead.
make it into a passive income. So real estate has its advantages, and it always will have, because you could turn real estate, if you know what you're doing, if you don't take on too much debt, because it's like musical chairs. The people that have been just taking loans against their properties and buying more and more and more, it's to the point now where if that chair stops, you can get really hurt. The people that have maneuvered it right, it's a very good investment. Real estate, it's probably one of the best, if you ask me.
Okay. Do you
Real
do you think?
estate is really really good to
Yeah.
prosper if you
Okay.
play your cards.
I know that you've been part of it. I just heard from Adam Button how rough it is for a lot of residential people right now, not being able to handle the increased payments because they didn't have 30-year fixed. I wanted to, talk to you a little bit about what you think is going to happen. Uh, where are you focused your energy on when it comes to WTI? Do you like the shares? And I know you like the miners, but don't the shares, even when the underlying commodity is skyrocketing, suffer if you have a general market sell off? Like if we get the kind of correction you're talking about, even though oil's going up, won't oil shares still come under pressure?
Usually the shares lead, right?
Yeah.
Usually the shares. I know when oil went minus 20, the oil shares were flying. They
Okay.
were going up. And I was like, what? The oil shares were moving. And, you know, oil came back. It's telling you, look, this is just temporary. It's going to come back. But it shows you it was an inside job, actually, to be honest. And a lot of those people that knew went into the shares. But with the oil shares, it depending on how bad things get in the US, because then it's, you know, is there going to be a point where even gold, have you ever thought about this where what if these certain countries out there and gold's like really high, wouldn't the government take over the mines? That
Yeah,
would be
there's
a lot of
there's a lot
money.
of that
Think
going
about
on.
it, Dale. It's
A
Canada's
lot of
safe.
that.
I think
Yeah.
Canada's safe, but maybe in these other countries, the government's going to say, look, you know what?
Yeah.
Gold's flying. We're just going to, you know, you're in our country. This is ours.
It's
And that I
happening.
think that will happen. I think that's
Right
going to
now
happen.
they're raising taxes on the mines, but eventually
I
there could
think
be confiscation
so. You
of the
definitely got
mines.
to be able to really find out where your mine is and make sure the government's okay over there, because I think it's going to come a day where if gold decides to really take off, which I think it will, what it's basically telling us is that, you know, there's a problem in the world. Gold signaling to me that there's issues around the world, and
Yeah.
as it's going higher, uh, you know, it's a safe haven, especially when there's issues around the world. People will fly to it. So as the world gets more uh, confusing, where think something might start, it's actually signaling gold and silver, which I think for the past couple of months that of what's happening now in the Middle East,
Okay.
it front ran it. My
Yeah.
personal opinion.
What do you think about that? It's really all one market, Steve. I've been talking about this for a while. When there's risk on, gold goes up, S&Ps go up, um, energy goes up, everything goes up and down together, just in different magnitudes.
Yeah,
Do you
but it
think that
breaks
there's
at
going to
times.
finally be differentiation between risk off and other things thriving during a risk off environment?
Yeah, depending on what it is, right? But there's depending on the trigger. If I think if there's some sort of event in the Middle East, I think gold and silver will sell off first. They won't go up.
Okay.
Because everybody sells everything. They
Dollar,
just get out.
dollar.
Dollar would I would think would be get strong. I
Okay.
think they'll flee to it. I think everybody will sell off. Everything will sell off. I think everybody just go to cash because it's if
Bonds.
if yeah, we'll go up. People will flee
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
Okay. So you think the bonds will be a safe haven? They certainly weren't in 2023. They outperformed to the downside. That was the end of the 60/40 portfolio because bonds didn't protect from that
That's
decline.
interesting, actually. I think a lot of people just go to cash, to be honest. It's
Yeah.
just so many different times. Then I think they're going to flee to the metals. I
Okay.
think it takes a hit. And then I think there's going to be an overwhelming amount of people getting in there. But look, something is on the horizon. That's the reason. Like, I really want to, I could be wrong, but I just wanted to let people know things are not good in the world. And there's a lot of people walking around right now talking about Katy Perry and watching Netflix 8 hours a day and not knowing what the hell is going around the world right now. And there's a lot of things happening that a lot of people think that won't come to fruition. They think that it'll never happen. But don't
Yeah.
think like that. The thing is, you
Yeah.
need to be prepared if it does. And those are the smart ones. I hope it doesn't. I hope nothing happens. But the writing I'm seeing on the wall is it's not good out there. And that is going to affect the market. Now, a lot of people think it won't because of what's happening right now. But I'm telling you, if it's something that is very bad, which probably I don't. I'm not. I don't want to be the dark doom and gloom here. I'm just saying. Look, it's not coming from me. It's coming from the intelligence agencies. They're telling you they don't know when, but they're saying it's guaranteed, basically. And I'm telling you that people are not prepared for this. The market as well. They're going to get a shock.
Yeah, I
And
mean, well, people have been watching the Ukraine war for 2 years, and it's had
condition
no impact on the market. They've watched the
exactly
Middle East; it's had
till it does.
no impact on the market. Nothing has impact on the market. It's recency bias reinforced by a decade. So at
Exactly.
least, maybe you could probably even go back to '08. That's how long we've been running. You could go back to 2000. So, people do have recency bias, and
So
I think it's
I'm
good.
going to give you an example. Let's go back to '08. So let's just say now the conditioning of this market for the last 10 years. So let's
Yeah,
say '08 happens. Not saying it's going to happen. Let's say it happens. So we go down at breakers. How many are going to buy the dip?
they'll all try.
Okay. It goes up and then it gets crushed again.
They'll
Are they going
keep
to buy the
trying.
dip again?
They'll average out.
Will they buy it again? So I'm going to do
And
a
then they
bullish.
have a
The
margin
market's
call and they're
oversold.
broke.
Well,
Yeah,
watch this. The market's oversold. Look, this is what happens when it got to this level before,
yeah,
and this is what happened. And guess
I
what?
know.
It
Yeah.
goes lower. So the market gets more oversold, more oversold, more oversold, more oversold, more oversold, and you're out. And guess what? How many of those people experience this ever?
Give me a
They
number
haven't
for.
experienced it.
No, they have
Only
no,
they
they haven't.
haven't. And that is what I'm trying to warn people because I personally think it's coming.
Yeah.
It will be a time where the feds the Fed won't be there to save you. Believe me, there's going to be a time where they're going to let this go. So that's why you got to use charts. And that's why you got to get out at certain positions when they break. Because if you don't
Yeah.
get out, you could be stuck. And this is where it comes to charting and your emotions. It's always good to go by the charts, no matter what me or you think. When certain levels, I might have different levels than you, whatever's your forte and whatever works for you. But you got to use charts. You got to don't listen to the
More
people
than
out
that,
there.
you have to use stops.
Yes. Yeah. Stops.
Stops.
Put
That's
them in
it.
the right
Every
place.
market wizard,
That's right.
that went broke made a pledge that they would never put a position on without a stop.
Well, what happens here is I think there's gonna be a time where it happens. They're gonna buy more because they're conditioned. They don't even know they're
Yeah.
doing it. That it always goes back up. And this is why, look, people can say whatever they want. It's happened before. You
Yeah.
could get into a situation where you have a lot of gains for the last couple of years, and then one wrong move on something the market is not used to doing for all these years could totally wipe you out. And it's happened to me before. It's happened to me. And that's why
Steve.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's happened
I
to you.
mean,
I don't want it to happen to you. And there's triggers out there, and it always happens with a trigger. 2008 was a financial trigger.
yeah.
Now, what's going on now, Dale? We got two assassination attempts on a former president.
Yeah.
You have Europe, NATO, and the States very thin wired to authorize long range
Yeah.
missiles deep into Russia.
Yeah.
You don't think oil is going to get affected?
Yeah.
You have Iran saying that they're going to hit Israel and it's just a matter of time. You have Lebanon, which is unbelievable what
They'll
happened in
wait for
Lebanon.
the Jewish holidays.
There's so many things going on. I can't even keep
That's
up. What I'm
yeah,
saying is
that's a couple of weeks.
there's going to be a trigger. And when that trigger comes, that's when things fall apart. And what I'm saying to you is be careful. Go use charts. Don't use your emotions. Don't listen to some guy out there saying this is the time to buy without providing any charts or any reasons why. They just say this is a good time to buy, and they don't provide any charting to it. There's a lot of those out there. You got to be careful because you could be in a situation where it just goes against you. So my main thing is being a chartist. If you want to be trading, everything is in the charts if you know how to read them. Now, there's different ways to read a chart. You have many people out there that, there's sometimes I look at charts, I'm like, what the hell is that? There's lines all over the place, and it's like, whoa. And then there's things that are, your charts are beautiful, Dale. You keep it simple, and simple works. This is what I'm looking for. This is the level I'm working for. If this breaks, I'm looking for this. If this breaks, I'm out. That's it.
You know what, Steve? I had an experience having an IB in 2000, and people were cleaning up during the dot-com mania, and then we started to roll over, and people would come into my office and ask me what to do, and I would say sell, and they would say, "Well, I'll have too many taxes to pay. I have all these capital gain taxes I don't want to pay." So they ended up not having to pay taxes because all their capital gains went away because they didn't want to pay taxes. Don't let that guide your decision either. Make it a market decision,
Yeah,
not a tax consequence decision.
absolutely. That's another thing.
Yeah, that people can
Canada's really bad.
always find a way to hit themselves in the head with a ball peen hammer.
Yeah.
Steve, I hope another couple years don't pass. I want you to just talk quickly about your wife. I see her in my feed.
Oh, she's done really well,
Yeah,
really well,
you
Dale.
taught her. It may not,
He's a swing trader, by the way. There's the thing. Like, we're two different apples. I don't personally, me, Dale, I don't like. I'll get into low hanging fruit stocks. I like
yeah,
stocks that are low hanging fruit, but they got to be really low. And they got to have a lot of employees. I look at employees a lot. I'm like, does this company have employees? In fact, I've actually went to places and stood
yeah,
across the street and watched.
yeah,
If you're going to put a lot of money into a company, you need to research it. There's a lot of people that deploy money to stocks and they just take their word.
yeah.
You got to do your own investigations. You got to see what's going on. Call the
That's their
company.
currency. Yeah,
Exactly. Call the
that's
company. I want to walk around, and they'll do it. They're obligated to do it. They're on the market. I'm just seeing, like, if there's low hanging fruit stocks, I think, and that's what she likes to. She dabbles in stocks. She dabbles in. We've worked on this swing trading model that is so beautiful, and she manages it, and it does very well. And we're putting it to a lot of stocks now because there is, like, stocks are beautiful, especially the ones that are value, that are beat up, and you see the value in it. You could really take advantage of that.
yeah,
You get those opportunities with stocks, and kind of like the miners right now.
yeah,
Hanging
yeah,
fruit, right? So
yeah.
take it.
And really, what a great way to have a partnership that carries through your life as a life partner, and
No, she's my
also
best friend.
somebody,
Yeah,
yeah, and somebody that backs you up in your business and can take the lead in your business, and
absolutely.
you're very fortunate, Steve, and
Thank you, Dale.
I'm glad for you, and I really had a great time talking to you today.
I had a good time with you too, Dale, as always, and we'll do this again. I'd
Yeah,
like to see. So, what's your prediction, Dale, by the end of the year? What's your
I'm think
prediction to the election? Give me the prediction
I have a
to the
measured
election.
move. I
What
have
do
a
you think
measured move in the S&Ps based upon a 4,800 breakout and the 34 and a half low before we got back above 48 takes me to about 6,100.
All right. Okay. I'm going to give this to 58.20.
Okay.
And then from 58.20 to around 58.55. 58.55. Okay. Is that right?
All right.
I think
Okay.
it's going to get pulverized into the election.
All right. What
Pulverized as
kind?
in
What pulverized as to what? 4,000, 3,500?
no, that's low. Maybe it would. I don't know. I need charts for that, but this is just a guess.
All
Uh,
right.
I think it will break her, and then there'll probably be another breaker. This is speculation, by the way. I'm
Okay.
speculating. This is like a football game,
Yeah.
and Dale's betting a team, and I'm betting a team, and we don't know what's going to happen because they're not playing. But imagine the team playing. We're going to have a better chance of knowing what's going to happen because those are like charts. So we need to see the prices move towards the election. And if certain levels get taken out, we can look lower for those levels. And if certain levels get taken out to the upside, we look higher for those levels. And that's the way you should look at charts, which I'm sure Dale does as well. And that's the way to do it. But I think to the election, Dale, I'm going to give this out here as a prediction. I think we're going into chaos. And I think there will be order out of chaos when it comes.
All right. And
I hope I'm wrong, by the way.
I
hope I'm wrong.
I'm recommending that people at the minimum follow your X account and your wife's X account at the Pivot King, at the Pivot Queen. Go check out Steve if you want to learn what has taken him blood, sweat, and tears, and definitely living through adversity and sharing it with people. Then go to his website, thebesttraders.com, and keep in touch with what Steve's seeing, because there is a reason that he's more than lived up to his handle, the Pivot King.
Thank you for those warm words, Dill. And I look forward to speaking to you again.
You're my brother.
All right. Take care, Dill.
My trading warrior brother, Steve Marcantonio.
Take care. Bye, guys.
You too, Steve. Thank you very much, buddy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.